Guys, so today I wanted to discuss about the Fibonacci sequence and more importantly that spiral created by the Fibonacci sequence that was done back in 1202 and why that does not work with photography, even though it does work very well in painting and drawing, and it was designed to help artists better compose their work. That being said, let's explain the Fibonacci sequence. Just a quick rundown just in case. So the Fibonacci sequence is very simple. You go 1, 1, and you add those two together, right? That equals 2. So then you can go 1 plus 2 equals 3, and then you go 2 plus 3 equals 5. And you go on, so on, so on, so on. It can technically go for infinite. And the point of this is just to show an example of how math can be used to better explain our world. And this is why. If you look throughout nature, especially trees, that they can easily fall under the Fibonacci sequence. And it's actually amazing how math, a construct made by us, can be shown within nature, which is not a construct made by us, and the universe itself, the spirals within our universe, or the galaxies, right, have that Fibonacci spiral in it. And it's amazing. It's very beautiful, and it's a proof that even math being a construct, that it could still help us better look at the world and really open our eyes up to how beautiful the world really is. That being said, coming from that Fibonacci sequence is a specific type of composition made for artists, specifically for drawing and painting. And that is a 1 by 1 plus a 1 by 1 equals a 2 by 2. And then you go 1 by 1 plus 2 by 2 equals a 3 by 3. And then you go 2 by 2 plus the 3 by 3 equals a 5 by 5. And then it continues on and on and on until you get to the end of the frame, and then you end with whatever that by times that would be. And that is a way of composing your painting and making it look really nice. And apparently a lot of the most famous paintings, or some of the best paintings we have, actually do use the Fibonacci sequence. That being said, this was also invented back in 1202, right? Photography did not exist back then, and the reason why this does not work in photography is because photography's main factor on whether it's a good photo or not is dependent on light. Because to create a photo, you need light. But to make a great photo, you need to have the best lighting. That being said, painting doesn't need light. What it needs is the best composition. And drawing is all about, both of those are about composition. And everything you do, including colors and everything, should enhance the composition. The problem is with photography, it isn't the same. The most important part is light. So composition and all these things are used in order to better the light, in order to make a better photo. So the Fibonacci sequence more than likely does not enhance the light. Now that being said, there may be examples obviously where the Fibonacci sequence was the best composition in order to best enhance the lighting in the photo. Of course, and the rule of thirds, same thing. There are obviously examples that it worked in order to provide the best lighting for the photo. But that does not mean every single time you take a photo, you should attempt to fit it into the Fibonacci sequence or the rule of thirds or all these other rules or composition sets, right? Because it just doesn't work in photography. It may so happen to land in one of those, but not all the time. And I find even through my photography, it rarely does, but it may. That being said, I just feel as though as a photographer, especially if you're practicing, do not limit yourself to just the Fibonacci sequence, and that's how you should compose your photos. Do not limit yourself to the rule of thirds, and that's the only way you can get a good photo. Look at the lighting and see, well, does the rule of thirds provide the best lighting? No. Well, how about the Fibonacci sequence? No. Okay, so let me see which, if I just start placing in random areas, whatever the subject is, what can provide the best lighting, and that's how you should come up with the composition. Not, wow, the Fibonacci sequence works really well in paintings, therefore every single photo I take should match. And here's the big redundant nature of the Fibonacci sequence within photography. When you're taking photos of pretty much anything, it has the Fibonacci sequence in it. Portrait photography, nature photography, photography of space, architecture, all these things will have the Fibonacci sequence within it. So now you're using the Fibonacci way, the golden rule, in order to capture the Fibonacci sequence, and it's really redundant, and it just doesn't work also because of that. Because it's like, at the end of the day, why you don't need to use the Fibonacci's golden rule in order to best capture the Fibonacci sequence, because that's just not how that works. So all I'm saying is, not limit yourself to that Fibonacci golden arch or whatever it's called, and do not limit yourself to the rule of thirds, because more than likely the best lighting does not lay in the rule of thirds or the Fibonacci sequence. So that's all I have today, and I hope you guys have a great week.